Yuval Noah Harari, 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. Welcome to the summary of 21 Lessons for the 21st Century by Yuval Noah Harari, a book that delves into today's most pressing issues, offering effective solutions for dealing with them. Exploring a wide range of topics, from political ideologies to the perils of technological disruption, Harari stresses the need for change, particularly when it comes to education, and how we should handle the deluge of information in the modern era. He also touches on the challenges of globalization, the rise of terrorism, and the unfolding immigration crisis in Europe. Read on to examine the major takeaways and insights from this thought-provoking and thoroughly relevant work.
Technological disruption and politics. The 20th century saw the rise of liberalism, with democracy, free enterprise, and individual freedoms at its core, as the dominant world ideology. However, as we progress through the 21st century, the liberal democratic system faces severe challenges due to the revolution in information technology. The rapid advancement of computers and artificial intelligence has made our financial systems increasingly complex and difficult to comprehend, which has significant implications for political processes. The lack of understanding and control over these technological disruptions among politicians is causing a loss of faith in established governments. Ordinary citizens of liberal democracies around the world feel threatened by the rise of artificial intelligence, globalization, and machine learning, fearing irrelevance and loss of economic status in a high-tech economy. This has propelled them to grasp at any remaining political power, as seen through events such as Brexit in the United Kingdom and the election of Donald Trump in the United States. The fear of exploitation that drove workers in the 20th century has shifted to the fear of being left behind in a rapidly changing world with demands for specialized labor. Embracing the AI revolution. The ever-evolving field of robotics and machine learning is on the brink of reshaping the world's workforce for the better. Contrary to concerns of widespread unemployment, history suggests that new technology will create as many jobs as it renders obsolete. As machines become increasingly capable of performing cognitively demanding tasks, humans must adapt and find new ways to harness the potential of artificial intelligence. As the 21st century unfolds, countless experts are predicting significant changes in job markets as a direct result of robotics and machine learning. Although the precise impact of this technological revolution remains uncertain, some believe that automation will ultimately lead to economic growth and new job opportunities for all. Drawing parallels with the Industrial Revolution of the 19th century, optimists argue that while new technology may disrupt the workforce, it also has the potential to create new avenues for human beings. The rise of machines brought competition with humans, particularly concerning physical abilities. However, humans held a distinct advantage in cognitive abilities, such as analysis, communication, and learning, which led to the development of jobs unique to our strengths. In today's rapidly evolving high-tech world, machines are not only growing smarter but also gaining the capability to compete for cognitive-based jobs. Recent discoveries in neuroscience suggest that human cognition is the result of our brain's capacity to rapidly calculate probabilities. Consequently, artificial intelligence, AI, has upped the ante, challenging even the most cognitively demanding professions, such as law and banking. Going forward, it's not far-fetched to think that computers would be able to make critical banking decisions, accurately predict legal strategies, and outperform humans in professions that were once considered solely reliant on human intuition. As the landscape shifts, it becomes crucial for us to adapt and find innovative ways to collaborate with AI, leveraging its vast potential and exploring uncharted territories that are yet to unfold. Immigration, a cultural dilemma. The unprecedented interconnectivity of the 21st century has allowed for an explosion of global encounters while simultaneously giving rise to previously unimaginable conflicts. One such issue is immigration, especially in Europe, where it's impacting political ideologies and national identities. The European Union, originally created to overcome cultural disparities, now finds its existence threatened, unable to accommodate new arrivals from the Middle East and Africa. Debates over assimilation, tolerance, and identity have risen to the forefront of European conversations. Although many agree that immigrants should adapt to their host country's culture, the extent of this adaptation remains contentious. Some Europeans argue that newcomers ought to abandon their previous cultural identities entirely, including traditional attire, food taboos, and socio-religious norms. They believe that a conservative and religious background, for example, must be reformed to conform to the liberal, feminist, and secular standards of European host societies. On the other hand, proponents of a more open immigration policy argue that Europe's inherent diversity doesn't allow for a single collective identity. They believe it's unfair to impose strict cultural assimilation onto immigrants when the native population itself showcases a wide range of values and practices. For instance, it's unreasonable to expect Muslim immigrants to adopt Christianity, when most British citizens are estranged from church attendance. Similarly, it's absurd to demand that newcomers abandon their cultural dishes in favor of traditional European fare when many locals enjoy multicultural cuisine. The challenge of immigrant assimilation in the 21st century reveals that the ongoing debate cannot be simplified as a moral battle between anti- and pro-immigration forces. Instead, a rational and nuanced discussion, recognizing the legitimacy of both perspectives, is necessary to navigate the complexities that immigration brings. Terrorism. Psychological warfare. While terrorism claims relatively fewer lives than other hazards like traffic accidents, it effectively exploits fear and psychological manipulation to achieve its goals. A prime example is the 9/11 attacks, where terrorists from a weak group coerced the United States into launching an extensive military action. Terrorism wins when governments overreact and fail to recognize the mind games being played. In the 21st century, terrorists have capitalized on psychological manipulation to instill fear despite their comparatively weaker positions. Consider the European Union, where around 50 people are killed by terrorists every year since the 9/11 attacks in 2001. By comparison, traffic accidents have claimed 80,000 lives in Europe over the same period. Despite the difference in numbers, the fear of terrorism often surmounts that of driving hazards. Terrorist groups are usually unable to cause substantial material damage due to their lack of strength and resources. Instead, they resort to spreading fear and manipulating their foes' emotions. The effectiveness of this strategy is evident in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, where terrorists took 3,000 American lives and deeply traumatized the nation but barely damaged its military capabilities or infrastructure. This profound impact prompted an immediate and oversized retaliation from the United States, launching a war on terror in Afghanistan, the ramifications of which continue to be felt today. The terrorists' primary goal was to incite political and military turmoil in the Middle East, a pursuit that was tragically successful. How could a weak group with limited resources draw such an immense reaction from the most powerful nation on earth? One can compare the terrorists to a fly buzzing around a china shop, too weak to break anything but clever enough to provoke destruction indirectly. The fly irritates and agitates the powerful bull residing in the shop, causing it to lash out in frustration and shatter the fragile surroundings. In the case of 9/11, the Islamic extremist fly's provocation pushed the United States bull to topple the Middle Eastern shop in a fit of fear and fury. The ensuing chaos allowed fundamentalists to thrive, demonstrating the bitter lesson of this century: terrorists achieve victory when powerful governments surrender to irrational emotions and reactions. Recognizing and resisting these psychological tactics is crucial for mitigating the dangers of terrorism and preventing similarly devastating consequences in the future. The knowledge illusion trap. For ages, liberal societies have valued our ability to think and act rationally, paving the foundation for our modern systems. However, as individuals, most of us know surprisingly little about how the world works. This can lead to the knowledge illusion, where people believe they understand more than they actually do, simply by associating knowledge that others have with their own expertise. As a result, this false sense of understanding can have significant consequences when applied to vital aspects of society, such as democracy and policymaking. Therefore, it is vital to scrutinize the knowledge of those offering opinions on complex matters. Since the inception of liberal communities, the trust in an individual's rational and independent thinking has been immense. Ideas like democracy and free market capitalism stem from our faith in people's capacity for rational thought, and our education system fosters the growth of independent thinking. However, these values are now under threat as we come to recognize a dangerous pitfall: our knowledge level as individuals is alarmingly limited. Our current understanding of the world pales in comparison to that of our Stone Age counterparts, who possessed crucial survival skills. However, we falsely believe that we hold more knowledge, even though we're increasingly dependent on specialists for everyday needs. Our vulnerability comes from misconceptions. We tend to think we know more than we actually do. This deceptive belief is characterized by a phenomenon called the knowledge illusion. We claim expertise on certain topics based on the information gained from others, rather than our comprehension. This illusion impacts our decision-making capabilities, affecting pivotal aspects of society, such as governance. When ill-informed individuals engage in discussions, such as climate change regulations or international conflicts, we witness the detrimental effects of this knowledge gap. It is crucial to investigate the true understanding and competence of those proposing opinions on multifaceted topics, as we may otherwise fall victim to superficial knowledge and unsound decision-making. Rethinking education for tomorrow. Imagining a child born today who will grow up to experience 2100, it's crucial to reevaluate our current educational systems to empower them for the future. Rather than focusing on the acquisition of information, as was helpful in the 19th century, we must adapt our schools to fit the unique challenges of the information age. With an overwhelming abundance of data, often filled with misinformation or fake news, the primary goal of education in the 21st century should be to teach children the ability to discern essential details from irrelevant or deceptive information. In a world where information will be more accessible than ever, the pursuit of truth is what schools should prioritize for future generations.
In 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, Harari provides a deep, engaging analysis of the major challenges facing our world today. By shedding light on the complex issues of political ideologies, technological disruption, and dramatic social change, he offers a fresh and enlightening perspective on the present and future. Harari also tackles the immigration crisis in Europe and the fearful grip of terrorism on society, both of which have profound implications on our global community. Despite these daunting challenges, there is hope, particularly in rethinking the educational system to focus on the ability to distinguish between relevant, useful information and misinformation. Understanding the lessons Harari presents in this timely work is crucial for navigating the uncertainties of the 21st century.